Do you read me?
Be advised, you are coming in weak and unreadable.
Say again, Com Tower. This is Pacho. Do you read me?
Pacho, this is Com Tower. I read you Lima Charlie.
Com Tower. Request permission to launch and commence a field op. Over.
Stand by. Pacho, permission granted. I say again, permission granted.
Roger that. Launching podcast in 3, 2. You are now entering the field op with your host, Pacho Correa, Chief Warrant Officer 3, United States Marine Corps retired. Get some. Hurrah! Get some. Hurrah! What's going on, everybody? Another Baby Friday is upon us. Friday night's Eve, but goddamn, it's almost the weekend. And we got an amazing show for you brought to you today. So, at the end of the day, today we're going to talk a little bit about military life, where every acronym is a mystery. Every MRE is a surprise. Oh, man, I got a story about that. And every PT test, well, let's not even talk about that, kids. Shit. That's the one thing I don't miss is, having get up at 0:30 in the morning and PT every day. You know what I'm saying? And let's get all the pleasantries out of the way. And before we get started, hey, have you ever thought about, hey, what would happen if your 401k or your TSP, plan after you get out of the service, or while you're in the service, how to maximize, your investments, so that way in the event of a down market, you don't have to worry about anything, and your 401k, TSP, whatever, doesn't turn into a 101k. Well, hey, give yours truly a call and shoot me a DM, and we can talk about it and get some things started for you, so that way when the market is on a downturn, you don't have to worry about it, and you can really retire and get out and not have to go work a regular 9 to 5. So that's something that rings a bell, kind of tickles your fancy. Let me know, and we can work from there. Another thing is that, hey, look, the VA is not perfect. It's the one thing that we have working for us. So, the system is not perfect. So that's why there's other resources, and you can make it that much better. But at the end of the day, you want to get into the system and get the benefits and claims that you deserve, because more than often I run into veterans who are not partaking at all into putting a claim in the system or getting taken care of by the VA, because at the end of the, there are many other things. Although there are, you could take your through your work if you have a civilian employer and something else like that. There are some things that come out of pocket that the VA can take care of. So be a little smart and work on that. And if you need help putting a claim in, give yours truly. Shoot me a DM on the show, and I'll be able to put you in touch with some other people, or I can help you myself. No big deal. That's what we're here to. We take care of our own, and we got each other's back. All right. So the other thing is that, hey, look, this shows we're here as a platform to help not only veterans, business owners, veterpreneurs, and many different types or heck, if you're still on active duty and you want to talk about the show a little bit, which by the way, I just want to throw out there that next week for Thanksgiving, there won't be a show. I may just do like a quick little blurb on Facebook or whatever, but there's not going to be any show. So if you want to tune in, whatever. But there'll be a show a week after, and we have an amazing guest for that show as well. But look, at the end of the day, this show is all about freedom of speech, being able to, the right to bear arms. Again, anything and everything that the Constitution provides, the freedoms that it provides for us as Americans. That's what this show is all about. And we support it. We don't have to disagree or agree or disagree. We could just be, hey, look, I don't agree with you. We're good, and we could just move on. So if you're all about that, then stick around, like, subscribe, and follow. As a matter of fact, there's 7,700 of you here on this on Facebook, following some of my content. So you guys must like me. You must really, really like me. Shout out to Sally Field, may she rest in peace. But go to my YouTube channel. You can also look. I'm also on Instagram. I'm also on TikTok. I mean, we're all with the times up in here. So, and if there's something particular you want me to talk about as it pertains to veteran services, uh, putting strategies and tips together that will make you that much financially sound, hit me up. Send me some ideas on the show. Or if you want to be a guest, by all means, also hit me up. So, hey, no worries. Check it out. But like I said, follow me and help the analytics on all the other platforms, and let's grow. And come on the show. All right. So I think that's all the pleasantries we got right now. And but I was sorry. Remember the movie Good Morning Vietnam with Robin Williams, which I think is one of my favorite movies. That movie came out around the time, excuse me, as I was getting ready to join the Marine Corps. Yes, I'm dating myself a little bit. So if I hear a damn joke about, you know, being old or whatever, hey, this Marine still can bring it to the table. That's all I want to say. So I mean, I can still run my 3 miles, do 20 pull-ups, and get my 100 crunches. So I mean, I can still get a first class PFT. So and speaking of PFTs, hey, look, as quirky and as challenging as some of these fitness tests have changed over the years. I mean, I think I'm running. I mean, I used to have some of these Marines. Like there was this guy named Wessel. By the way, if you're still out there, he used to be a 9th Com Battalion with me. If anybody can find him or tag him on Facebook, by all means, I'll refer him my way. I mean, this dude was amazing. I mean, this guy was the epitome of a cowboy as he could be. I mean, this dude could ride. He could ride bulls when Camp Pendleton used to have the rodeo grounds. I mean, he was in the Camp Pendleton rodeo team. Listened to country, loved Copenhagen, all those great things, and smoked Marlboro Reds. I mean, but the dude was a goddamn gazelle. I mean, this guy, and I'm not what I'm saying here, folks, is the darn truth. I mean, I remember one time we were getting ready to have a physical fitness test. Obviously, the Marine Corps, our fitness test consists of pull-ups, sit-ups, and a 3-mile run. Not in that order. You don't have to do it in that order. As whatever it is. When first sergeant, whatever hair he's got up, they're well behind, or whatever the case. They do them in different orders, preferably. And I think most of the time they knock out the pull-ups and sit-ups first. I don't know why, because by the time I get to the run, I'm pretty much smoked after doing amazing pull-ups and sit-ups, getting maximum points. Now I gotta go this run. But this dude was like a physical genetic beast. The guy was, he was super skinny. But I remember, I think it was on a Friday, and obviously field day is when we clean our barracks rooms. And back in the day, and obviously who we clean the best is when we're drunk. So I remember, pretty much field day Thursday night at the barracks. It might as well just call that in happy hour on steroids, because it's just a drink fest. People throw up and they clean their rooms and they throw up and puke all over them. Which, by the way, I got a story on that as well. So maybe I'll bring my buddy Caesar back on the show. We could talk about when this dude pooped. Anyways, that's another story for another show. But anyways, so I remember we all got hammered. We had to go to Lake O'Neill. This is in Camp Pendleton. We had to go to Lake O'Neill where the PFT course was. And I remember standing there at the goal line with Wessel next to me, and the dude was, I'm not making this, he was smoking a cigarette. And usually they put the fast people, they get up front, and then the ones that are slower in the back. That way, the last person who crosses that's when the clock starts. Anyways, I remember Wessel had a Marlboro Red, and we were talking whatever, and he was smoking. I was like, man, I was an okay runner. They said go, and this guy flicks his cigarette to the side, and my man was gone. He took off like a freaking bat out of hell. And the guy ran under 18 minutes. He got 3 miles under 18 minutes. Which is freaking amazing. Again, the dude drank, smoked. He was the epitome of what a cowboy would be. That was Wessel. I mean, the guy was, and he was one heck of a wrench turner too. I mean, what goddamn good mechanic. I mean, he was. So, but I remember that, them PFT days, and nowadays, I mean, it's like, the PFT test. I mean, it's like goddamn Survivor. It's like you got to jump through, you got to crawl through barbed wire, doused in the blood of, venereal diseased, Iraqi person, with bullets being shot at you, and Molotov cocktails being thrown at you, and then you got to snatch the pebble out of the master guns, and then wrestle a bear while Sergeant Major's yelling at you, and then come back around, carry a PFC, spike him on the floor. I mean, shit, it's no joke what what Marines have to do, or hell, even the Army and all the other the other fitness tests that they're doing. You got the regular fitness test, which is you're, thank God that you're running in shorts and shirt and sneakers, but in the other ones you gotta like wear your uniform, your camis or BDUs, what the other services call it, and then with combat boots. I mean, that shit is not easy, folks. So shout out to the youth that are doing all kinds of crazy stuff nowadays. I mean, I remember, again, the last couple of years, I was part of the whole new CFT combat fitness test that they put together, and that was no joke. I mean, and for a guy, again, I was considered older by many standards. I mean, not older as some of the sergeant majors that I worked for or higher senior officers, but nonetheless, I mean, I was still able to hang with the young folks. I got a first class. Let's just put it that way. I mean, I wasn't crazy, but it's crazy what they have. They have to do now, and they just changed it. I mean, I get it, because obviously the battlefield is fluid, and it's great, but nonetheless, I mean, shoot, I mean, that's pretty crazy. When you have to do crazy things like that. But I get, the battlefield is fluid. We have to adapt and overcome. And I mean, you're not going to be running out in the middle of Iraq like some of us were, jumping in and out of vehicles and your green silkies and your skivvy shirt and sneakers. I mean, we got to train like we're in battle. So I got that. But I mean, it's just some of the things that, or like, again, acronyms like PT, CFT, TBD, all kinds of, I mean, hell, MREs. I mean, even some of those things. I mean, my kids used to love MREs too. I don't know if anybody here has had an MRE, which is basically what that means is a meal ready to eat. An MRE, it's just one of those things that you love them or hate them. So you can rank them. I mean, to me, number one, I used to love the vegetarian burrito. I think that by far that was one of the best ones for me. I mean, there's some here that may think otherwise, but for the most part, the vegetarian MREs actually brought a lot of good stuff inside of them, right? So, and there's some crazy hacks that people have out there, or crazy recipes. I mean, like Ranger pudding is one of them. That's where you get the coffee, the creamer, and the sugar, and you mix it all together in there, and with some water. Obviously, you mix it with water, and then and the cocoa. That's the key ingredient. I forgot to mention that, and that's the key ingredient you make, and then you can scoop that out with the spoon. Or you could put on your MRE cracker. That's another, and believe it or not, I mean, it's because for the most part, MRE crackers are bland as shit. I mean, you might as well eat this piece of paper I got sitting right here on where I wrote my show notes. I mean, that's pretty much as tasteful as the MRE crackers can get. You know what I'm saying? So, at the end of the day, I mean, MREs weren't too bad. Now, let me tell you, if you if you were, I mean, you had some anybody here that's pre 1998. That's this guy, among many others that've been on my show. I mean, that's pretty free. You know, if you ate an MRE pre 1998, I mean, if you think that the water at Camp Lejeune and all the commercials are going on, are bad, well, shit, get ready to stand by because those MREs from back in the day, you didn't know what you were getting. I mean, it was like literally like a fucking Morris Gump quote. I mean, it's an MRE. Life is like a bag of MREs. You never know what you're gonna get. You know what I'm saying? I mean, back in the day, they were purple. It had a number. I believe that was it. Yeah. So if you kind of figure out, oh no, it had a lot number. So if you figure out, okay, this lot by default, this lot, the likeliness of this lot having these type of MREs were really good. Like if you had the cherry pound cake, which by the way, it was one of the best treats inside the friggin' MRE, cherry pound cake. The one from back in the day, not the shit that they got now. I mean, although that one's pretty good. Or the cookie. This cookie right there inside those old MREs was like a block. I mean, you can actually build a house out of these friggin', but the cookie was really friggin' with peanut butter on it. Oh shit, good times. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, those cookies were pretty good, but if you got things like the hot dog pack, the hot dog was pretty good. You know what I'm saying? The hot dog was pretty freaking good as well. I do agree with you, Angel. So, but if you got like the hot dogs, or as we know them in the Marine Corps, 5 fingers of death, that was pretty bad. Or if you got ham slice, that was another one that will friggin' ruin a good time, ruin your gut if you weren't careful. I mean, I seen a many grown man cry and be said to the porta john when they would eat the either 5 fingers of death, the ham snatch, no pun intended, or what was the other one? The egg omelet. Oh my god, that one was another brutal friggin' MRE that would just, again, it would make a grown man cry. So back in the day, even MREs nowadays, they can do two things. They can even after you end up out of the field, you won't go to the bathroom for maybe at minimum 2 weeks to a month, thereabouts. Or I mean, it'll clear you right up, if you know what I'm saying. So I mean, I had a guy named, holy shit, I can't remember. I still remember this. His name was Belcher. So, hey, Belcher, if you're still out there, I hope you found your rifle. This dude lost his rifle when we were in Marine combat training, and we had to, no kidding, sweep the woods in the middle of the night. But anyways, I believe he got either the five finger death or the egg omelet. I mean, this dude had to go to sick call because that stuff, I mean, they really did a number on him. So, it was crazy. I mean, good times, but I mean, there's some crazy recipes to the point that there is an MRE recipe book that you can go on. Man, I really gotta create a link here because I do a lot of advertising for a lot of freaking books. But there is a book, you can look it up. It's the MRE cookbook, and it's crazy some of the things that on there that they have. But it's actually pretty freaking good. My kids used to like MREs out of all people. I mean, they loved them. So not that I had them because since they're an item that actually it's a trackable item. I mean, Mike, I didn't have any, but I mean, I used to buy them at a store. You know what I'm saying? So, but I mean, in the military, acronyms basically it runs our life. I mean, in the briefings that when I used to conduct briefings, it was confusing. It could be confusing as shit. It's like you could play what does this acronym mean? You know what I'm saying? It was to the point that thank God at the end of once the phones, you had internet on them. And I mean, thank God I can Google sometimes. Like, hey, what the fuck does this mean? I would go on Google. Hey, what does this mean? Zebra X, Lima Charlie, blah blah blah, frats. It was to a point. I mean, it was getting to that point where I was like, okay, man. I mean, we're kind of getting pretty bad at it. I don't know, maybe because I came from the enlisted ranks where we just kind of like, but then when I became an officer in the warrant officer ranks and then started attending all these briefings. I mean, I had some of these young cats, lieutenants and young captains, just start talking. Just it seemed like fucking gibberish sometimes. And I was like, man, what is this dude? What is this dude saying? I'm like, hey, what? I'm like, I don't know. Is it me? Or is it you, John Wayne? Remember that line? But, and to the point where, I mean, we got so, I mean, you cannot, I mean, to the point that I'm pretty sure right now that your fitness reports nowadays, I mean, there's got to be a check in there for being a PowerPoint commando. Because, I mean, holy cow. I mean, it was crazy as shit that, I remember having to put these PowerPoint together. And don't get me wrong, I mean, I think I'm a pretty techie guy, and I guess with the times you could say, but I mean, it was to a point where if the little airplane, if you're doing a briefing about landing in a landing zone, an LZ, by the way, in a pause, in a position. If the little icon didn't like land, like, and then take off and whatever else, or, I was transporting, if the little truck didn't like, and I mean, it was to the point that Jesus Christ, I mean, probably I was going to get a bad fitness report for that. And I'm sure that some of my buddies who've been on the show, one of them actually worked at the Pentagon. I'm sure that he can attest to a lot of this thing, how, I mean, things are turning to a point where it's just death by PowerPoint is pretty much, I mean, it's a reality. You know what I'm saying? So, because I even remember having to, we were deployed to Iraq. I mean, on a deployment, having to create these friggin' PowerPoints. And it's like, I'm like, dude, I mean, we're in the middle of Iraq. We're here at this, it might have been at the airbase when we were doing the airbase mission over there. But nonetheless, I mean, we got bigger fish to fry than, me getting, a tongue lashing and getting my ass yelled at because my PowerPoint is not good enough. It's like, does anybody know that I got a fucking mission around the perimeter that, I got Marines getting ready to launch here in just in about 30 minutes. That I got to go get a safety brief to prevent them from doing some dumb shit outside the wire. But I'm getting yelled at because my PowerPoint is not good enough and whatever the case may be. I mean, are we really at that point? So, and don't forget that it's Man Love Thursday at Al Assad. Those of you who got to deploy to Al Assad know what that means. But I mean, it just things like that, man, that, that, I mean, it was crazy. I mean, being in a FOB or forward operating base. I mean, that's some of the things. I mean, acronyms pretty much ruled our entire, our entire life. When I was in there, to the point again. When I became a civilian, I had to kind of like. Deprogram myself a little bit in the sense that you have to be careful because that's what we call jargon. And in the private sector, I mean, you have all this jargon that you used to, and it becomes our language. And when we're in the service, I mean, all these crazy things become our part of us that we forget who our audience is. And at the end of the day, when you're talking and like people are looking at you like you got something growing out of your forehead, and like, what is this? What is this dude saying? Or here's a good question, everybody. Have you ever found yourself at an interview? Those of you who have transitioned within the last 1 to 2 years, something like that. I mean, if you're at an interview, think about it. Did you say any jargon, any GTG, good to go? Good to go where? Where the fuck are you going, bro? Or that's good, roger that, or kill. I mean, I used to say kill. That kill mean yes, or ara. That means yeah. I mean, I know I do it in the show because obviously I know, again, I know my audience and who am I talking to, but like good to go. That sounds amazing. Roger that. Kill, yut. Bark, bark, woof, woof. I mean, what the what the heck does all that mean? You know what I'm saying? So I mean, all these things that we talk that we're so used to. I mean, look, I mean, when I think about it, I mean, as I look at deployments in my Marine Corps career, I mean, man, the military would make an amazing sitcom. I mean, yes, I remember Major Dad was a really good one. Again, those of us who remember that show. I know there's some other military related streaming platforms and I'm not advertising for anybody, but you could go there. They have some shows, but I'm telling you, I mean, you want a really amazing book to read the duty book at the barracks. Because I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, the shenanigans that would happen at the barracks were freaking insane. I mean, it's like, I remember this is my first duty station. We had a no kidding, our barracks NCO. Here's another acronym, non-commissioned officer, a barracks NCO who we used to call him Sergeant Scott. I forgot I forgot what his name. Anyways, we used to call him Scott. So Scott, I mean, and he was the barracks NCO. Basically, used to take care of the barracks as far as like, beds and things like that. Whatever. We had a dedicated fight room. How cool is that shit? So if you had beef with somebody, guess where where you solved that shit at? It was like freaking Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, baby. 2-man enter, 1-man leave. I mean, it was the friggin' walls were lined up with barracks mattresses, and we were all lined up. I mean, with this shit would happen at night, obviously. And then we would right after, usually when the OOD, officer of the day, when the duty OOD would, after he would make his round at the barracks, boom, hey, Fight Club was on. And you would go out there and everybody would have a beer, a drink, whatever, and people would go solve their shit in that bedroom. And it was freaking amazing. I mean, it was great. I really miss that stuff. But I'm telling you, if you really want to read a book that has drama, laughter, cry, whatever, read the duty at the barracks. I mean, it is freaking amazing, Or even better, you want to read the more refined version, the more somewhat educated. One is like the barracks. I like to compare the duty logbooks at the barracks to the duty logbook at the battalion for the officer of the day, as like the barracks room is the more raunchier version, the more raw, so to speak, of novel, where the officer of the day book is the more refined, more serious, romantic / rom-com, comedy type of book. But nonetheless, I mean, I would I would just start reading pages. I'm like, oh my god, look at this, dude found, Marine locked the female in his wall locker when the barracks NCO was making its inspections. Then the young lady was not registered. She was naked. She was drunk. This, that. It was just crazy, man. I mean, good times. I actually miss those times. You know what I'm saying? It's like, how can I compare the barracks? It's kind of like Big Brother meets Animal Planet, so to speak. It's like you got all kinds of, man, service member. Again, I was in the Marine Corps, so I guess service members as a whole. I mean, shit, we come from all over, and I mean, some of us are weird, some of us are just nerdy, some of us are. It doesn't really freaking matter, but that's what made. Made it fun. As I look back, not that I want to be back in, because there was some bullshit that came, again, that's the fine print, right now, oh man, that sounds funny and amazing. But when you read the fine print, it's like, nope, I'm good for right now. I'm good. I'm good where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? But all in all, I mean, it was good time, and I miss being in. So, but at the end of the day, we all serve. We all raised our right hand. Um, and I remember serving with people from all over. People from Texas, Georgia, Tennessee, Wisconsin. The people who immigrated here, who were from another country. People like my uh, people like I'm an immigrant myself. Now I'm an American now. I mean, I'm a naturalized citizen, but I'm just saying that point is that it didn't matter who you were from. One minute you could be listening to rock in one room, Leonard Skinner, all that good stuff. You could go down to another one, George Strait, Dwight Yoakam. Yes, I did. I mean, I think the Marine Corps rounded individual as it pertains to art, music, anything and everything else. It just brought I mean, hell, I mean, you go to another room and there's a white dude, black dude, Hispanic, Spanish dude, whatever. They're listening to mariachis and getting hammered. I mean, it doesn't. I mean, we cross boundaries. You know what I'm saying? And those are the things that we need to forget. Those are the things that we want to remember, and that and fall back on those things, because it's all about camaraderie, sharing, breaking bread, having a beer, taking a shot of whatever, and just missing your buddies. Because as time goes and we get older and our time in the military will end, all we'll have is just some of these great memories that I get to share with you as the listener of the show. So, when was the last time you checked on your buddy, or, shared a good story and like, hey, dog, call somebody, like, dog, remember when we did this? I can't believe we didn't get caught or whatever. So if you haven't done that, that's your homework for today. So with that being said, everybody, I think this is a good place to end it. So all I want to say is, look, everybody, thanks so much for always supporting the show. Thanks so much for supporting the Facebook page. Please go to my other channels, TikTok, YouTube, and all the other places where we're at, and help me pump up the analytics. And if you want to be on the show, be here. But if you've been ruminating as we get closer to the holidays, you've been feeling down because you don't have anywhere to go, well, hey, reach out to a buddy, reach out to me, reach out to TRICARE. If you're on active duty, there's plenty of people who adopt a service member, and you can go have chow with them, whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day is, don't take your life, because nobody here wants you to be a statistic. Nobody here wants to say some things about you at your eulogy, because you're probably just an asshole. So we don't want to be saying lies. But I'm making light of it, is we want you here. So hit me up at the show if you want to talk about it, or if you need help, I could get you there. So with that being said, everybody, I'm done talking. I'm going to go ahead and end this right here. Ice Tomas, Daisuki. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Happy thanks, gobble giving. Later. All right, get some. Bye-bye, everybody. Talk to you later.